right, so thanks everyone thanks for taking the time to attend Datamine's first laboratory symposium. Really great to see the turnout. My presentation is just going to be a little bit more information about CCLAS as a product, where we're headed, things that we've done and what the future looks like for us. So those of you that don't know me, I'm the General Manager for CCLAS based in Datamine's Brisbane office. My background, as I mentioned, I worked at Queensland Nickel for over 10 years, degree in chemistry, and after working at Queensland Nickel for about 10 years, I was a CCLAS Administrator. So I was using CCLAS in the laboratory, and I was kind of like the go-between, and a lot of you guys, I'm sure, either do the role or have a guy that does the role, where I'm the go-between between the LIMS product and the supplier of the LIMS and your IT, because you've got to have that kind of network, because your IT team is important to help you run your instruments and your network, and as well as the LIMS system as well. So that was kind of my experience. So probably about 12 years ago, I think September will be 12 years that I've been working with the CCLAS product. So obviously as a consultant, working, going out to our customers, figuring out what they want out of our software, training and supporting the software. So myself and Dave here today, obviously visit probably most of your sites here, so it's great to see all you guys here face to face. So I still do a little bit of consulting from time to time. A picture of myself with the guys at Century Mine, who can't be here today, but it's great to get out now that we can travel to sites. It's what we want to do, is see firsthand, what you guys are experiencing, and seeing, where we can improve our product, or where the problems are in your lab. So first of all, I just wanted to take some time to make everyone aware of what Datamine's CCLAS product strategy is, because there may have been, and I would have sent, if you're a customer, you would have sent sort of an email that I had sent out to all of our customers when we first came over to Datamine. So essentially, CCLAS EL is our client-server application, generally installed on-premise, but as you heard from Sean, we can do remote desktop, and I'll talk about other hosting options that we're investigating at the moment, but it's generally an on-premise solution. CCLAS 6 is our web-based LIMS, and so essentially there was, a belief by ABB that CCLAS 6 would replace CCLAS EL, and that's, Datamine doesn't share that belief. All right, so I guess I want to make that very clear to everybody, that the two products will actually, we believe, will actually coexist in the marketplace. And I guess the reason why is, we visit a lot of remote mine sites as we go around and visit our customers. Sometimes you don't have great internet connections. Sometimes you lose connectivity, or you don't have the bandwidth. So having a web-based LIMS system is probably not a good solution. Now, that may change in the future. We're certainly aware of that. We're obviously, some of our customers we hear about are really looking forward to the SpaceX's Starlink satellite internet, and it made me curious, because I actually jumped on their website, that when you looked at their coverage, they're only sitting at about 18% of the globe at the moment. So certainly a long way before that becomes available to everybody. But the feedback that I've had for people that actually have Starlink is actually quite quick. So that may change in the future, but I guess our strategy really is, for the products, long term, what we believe CCLAS EL is probably better suited to production mine sites and for single commercial laboratories, laboratory operations, whereas we believe CCLAS 6 was better suited for large corporate commercial laboratories that run multiple sites globally, or even just multiple sites nationally. I think is probably the better solution for CCLAS 6. So now we'll just jump into CCLAS EL development. So a lot of you probably run this menu system, and those of you that have upgraded to CCLAS version 3, that's the menu system that you would have seen or used to. So we're kind of looking to modernise the product. So unfortunately, you know, there wasn't that investment under ABB with CCLAS EL, so we're investing more money in modernising the product, so bringing it up to, you know, recoding all of the applications in C#. You know, it's amazing, even just modernising the icons have kind of given a little bit of a facelift. So you can kind of see on here we've added favourites, and I'll show you on the next screen where we actually have a home page here, menus down the side here, and obviously you can still, you know, configure those menus per user. And one of the other things that we're looking at is you know, BI tools, and obviously from what we've seen, one of the most popular BI tools in the industry is Power BI. So this large Datamine logo really is a placeholder, but ultimately that will actually get replaced with the ability for you to produce your own Power BI KPI dashboards. So I think this is where we differ from a lot of other LIMS providers, where they have their own reporting system, and we do have that in Datamine as well. We have another solution for ESG called iSustain, and they've actually done exactly the same thing, where we're LIMS providers, or we need to stick in our own lane. We're never going to be as strong in business intelligence like someone like, you know, Microsoft, who, you know, that Power BI tool has been around for a long time. So then, rather than having our customers, you know, learn our specific, you know, BI tool or reporting tool, it's better for you know, for you know, our customers to be able to change their own dashboards, because it's going to change over time. Laboratories change, KPIs change, management want different information all the time. So that's kind of where we're headed with the product, and the reason for us going down that avenue. Next off the list in terms of a new application is the job search application. Essentially, we're taking some concepts from CCLAS 6 that will allow you to search for a job and then launch manual data entry, reporting, invoicing, status reports. So just making it a little bit more job-centric application. We'll obviously have a lot more web services as we want to, you know, make the interoperability of the product a lot better, improve our QC rack layout. As probably a lot of you guys are using CCLAS, that, you know, to get your QC rack layout right, it can be a little bit tricky. And, you know, we've really got a great visualization tool inside CCLAS 6 that we want to bring that into CCLAS EL as well. So, you know, some of that learnings we're bringing back. We'll talk a little bit more later about our mobile interface that we're currently researching. But again, here's, for those of you that don't have version 3 of the product, here's like the home page. So you actually have recents down here. If you open up an application, it'll store them up to 10, but you can, you know, customize this menu. So literally just have this screen open, and then you just open, you know, whatever application you want, and again you can customize that per user. So what we've done over the years, I guess we've got a large range of customization. Some of that you've seen here today through the presentations of David and Ben and Sean. And what we want to do now that they've been out and used by a number of our customers, we want to start bringing that customization into the core application. So some of you may not be aware of stream registration application. So essentially it's for production laboratories that analyse samples for the same samples at the same time for the same analysis. So it automatically registers your samples, prints labels out, etc. So that's certainly quite well used, and what we've seen more is, you know, people want to now schedule resources to some of those automatic registrations. So we're looking to add sort of shift rosters or resource scheduling inside that application. Staff training, which we already have as a customized tool, we can bring that in, so that allows you to record your training for each of the users, and then if that training fails, you can restrict those users' access to those methods until they are completed. Sample tracking, so again, we've got a customized tool for that, but bringing it in-house, track your samples, your boxes, container tracking inside the laboratory. Paperwork generation, oops, I'll skip forward too much. Paperwork generation, again, just making, I think, the ability to print labels and worksheets a lot more easily. I think we're seeing now, I don't know if you agree, Dave, there's a lot more people moving away from paper-based laboratories. So, obviously with the push for ESG and a lot of our mining customers, we move away, but there'll still be a need, obviously. I don't think we can ever get away from printing out sample labels. So I think that will still remain, but worksheets that they may phase out, but we obviously still have to have that ability in there. Barcoding, again, we have that in some of our registration applications customized, and also barcoding for weighing up samples. So we want to put that into more and more applications to make that barcoding ability a lot easier to use. Consumable management, so basically have just put a little bit more depth in the application to cover chemicals and inventory items as well. Looking at automatic lab batching, so a core application that registers all your samples based on a selected criteria. Our instrument uploader, again, a lot of you are probably using a customized application for that. Just creating run lists and having that inside the core application as well. A laboratory management tool, so kind of, it was actually the work that we did with David that made us think that, I think, managing staff, recording safety issues, ordering items, maintenance activities, and those KPIs, it came out of the work that we did with David. So, we listened to what our, I think in the past, we've probably thought what our customers want instead of listening to what you guys actually need. And that's why you'll see me a lot more of ask or emails from me asking you guys, what sort of functionality do you need in the product? So it's important for me that you guys drive our development, not us. I mean, there's going to be limits to that, but we want to listen to you guys more, basically. So don't be afraid to speak out. Let us certainly let us know what you'd like to see. Other tools. Complaint management. So tracking complaints from customers, maybe more so suited to commercial laboratories, but those people that do shipment samples and you have a disagreement with a customer where you might have to do round robins, that are a better way to track that. And then sample storage invoicing, probably more commercial laboratories where they want to be able to charge samples that are actually being stored on site. So these are all the things, over time that we're going to start moving into the product. But I guess to be clear, we have this customization, available right now. So if any of those you think, or any of that functionality that is of interest to you, we can do that stuff, right now. So, reach out to myself or Dave if you've got any questions on that functionality. Now, I mentioned different hosting options that we are investigating for CCLAS EL. So here is, if you have a look at, you might be able to see the web address, but this is CCLAS EL running in a web browser using Amazon AppStream. So this is just manual data entry, and essentially it's all delivered via a browser. So and I think, to be clear, we are not, we want to be cloud agnostic, right? So we don't want to just have capability for Amazon. We're researching Azure's capabilities. We do have some technical issues with Amazon about capturing data from balances because it only uses USB to capture data, so probably have to write a tool to capture that. We do have some issues with AWS around running Excel, so surprise, surprise, Amazon or Microsoft doesn't support running Excel inside AWS, but we're researching ways around that. We've done successful piloting using Azure with Citrix Virtual Desktop. That was very successful, worked incredibly well. Very much like what you see, Sean, with RDS, so where it's just an application. It looks like it's running on your desktop, but essentially it's running off the server. So very similar to that. And Azure, I'm going through some testing quite soon has their own web-based platform like this that allows you to run CCLAS EL inside a web browser. So we are hearing more and more from our customers about wanting, as you say, Rob, things on the cloud. There's essentially, nothing we really need to change in the product. It's just the delivery platform, right? Next is mobile applications. So some of you might have seen the questionnaire that I sent out and asking, everybody, whether, you're interested in using a mobile version of CCLAS EL or CCLAS 6, and obviously we got quite a strong response saying yes. What we do have, and I guess the advantage of being inside Datamine now, is we have other products that allow us to leverage some of the technology and allows us to use that. Now, I think our belief from a mobile product, I don't think we'll ever have mobile versions of every single CCLAS application. So if you can imagine data entry and trying to look at heaps of results on a small, even if it's a tablet, right, it's still a small device. So I think certain applications will be advantageous to using mobile. So I think one of the first ones that we're going to target is sample registration. So these screen grabs you see of these mobile devices from Fusion, our geology software. So we're going to take this technology. There's not much we have to actually change. So allow you the ability to scan samples, barcode samples, and register and be able to register those samples. It'll create like an XML file, which we can then go ahead and register samples in through CCLAS. And it'll probably be, we won't have a CCLAS EL mobile application, a CCLAS 6 one. There'll just be one mobile application, but both applications we'll talk to. So the next on that's currently being developed, due to be finished in September, so next month now, is our web portal. So primarily designed for commercial laboratories, but depending on mine site demands, it would be a way for your internal clients perhaps to allow them to register samples by themselves. So essentially we're designing it with SSO, single sign-on, using OAuth. So the web portal application will do probably primarily three things. And again, it's just what we've developed. We'll look to expand it over the future. So it'll be registration, registering your samples, checking the status of your samples and your jobs, and then downloading reports. So this screen here shows you can put a submission number in a project, whatever date sampled you want, and you add procedures. So if you remember in CCLAS, procedures are linked to, you can have multiple schemes or multiple analysis inside those procedures. So you can put a different bunch of analysis per sample. Most importantly, you can cut and paste the sample idents. So a lot of people have spreadsheets, so they can take those sample idents instead of manually typing each one in. You can, say I've got 10 samples and paste them straight in, and they'll go straight into the customer portal. But you can add, single ones at a time, delete and update them. So the next screen kind of shows you then, where you have different samples, different procedures. You can edit either of those. Once you submit those samples, that will create an XML file. CCLAS will pick that up, send an email notification to the client, and then also register them in CCLAS automatically. Then obviously you would then receive those samples at some point. You probably want to have some type of sample reception, which we have a customized application, or you can do it through Job, but then see if you physically actually get those samples that turn up to the lab, because I'm sure you guys have had samples not turn up to a laboratory, so we understand that that's something that you need to check as well. The next screen shows you job status and reports, so you can download all your reports from a specific job. You can search for that. It kind of rolls up. Once you search, it kind of rolls up to give you more space to see more data. If there was multiple files there, we'll download that and in a zip file, so you can see the different status of the job. On the next page, then if you click into the job, then you can drill down, see the amount of samples, amount of QC, and then down to the scheme level and see the assays. How much has been weighed, how much has been assayed, and then down here you'll see it's kind of a big cut-off. But if you had multiple reports, you could just download one report at a time. So CCLAS 6. So for those of you that aren't aware, CCLAS 6 was written in older technology, Flash. Those of you that know Flash was stopped supported by web browsers in 2020. It was written in based off the Ellipse architecture from ABB, which was an ERP system. So we're going through a very large exercise to bring the technology of this platform up to HTML5. Our customers that are using CCLAS 6 at the moment use a Flash-capable browser for the moment while we go through this upgrade process. So we're investing a lot of money in this project, modernising the tech stack underneath. But I just wanted to give you, it started in March, and previous to that we were doing a lot of proof of concepts, because there's certainly a lot of issues in the past with certain technology platforms not proving viable for the application. So we have taken our time, we have gotten the right people, very experienced people in our team, to be able to do this upgrade. So some of these screens, early alpha versions, so very, very early versions of the product. So the ability obviously to log into the application, and probably will have a quick launch screen similar to what you see for CCLAS EL. You have favorite applications. We used to have the menu system, I think, up the top. It's now will be down the side now, and again with CCLAS 6 you can't restrict. This is the full menu, but you will be able to restrict what each user can see. This is like a search criteria, and again you can put in all different search criteria. Once you click on search, it will collapse and then give you more information on the screen. Now CCLAS 6 doesn't come with blue boxes. This is just I'm just hiding some customer client names there, but to give you an idea, obviously you can change and move these fields around like you would expect from any HTML5 application. Now one of the other things, again big blue box because there's clients there, but universal audit. So this application, audit trails inside CCLAS 6, so in our estimation, but probably take about 50% of the size of the database, right? So it's a lot of data. What we've done with Universal Audit is we've moved that data out of the application. It has actually two effects. One, it improves the performance, and second, it allows us to easily or quickly search for data inside, auditing data inside the application. So very powerful search tool that basically allows to search on every single field in the database. If there's a change, we capture it and are able to search inside the application. And as time goes on, we'll be able to put, more and more triggers on, specific application or specific changes so that we can detect whether there's changes. Obviously, you can see here there'll be, a before and after as well, as you're used to seeing with our normal auditing application. So while it is a separate application, we'll probably be able to launch it out of CCLAS 6, but it'll become part of the product. It's not going to be a separate product, so auditing will be through our universal audit product. It'll be a very, very powerful tool. So that's coming to the end of development. I think we've just got a couple of more months left, but a lot of technology behind the back end. I guess it doesn't seem much by looking at a web page, but I can tell you the technology behind it is quite interesting, and we're very lucky to have a solutions architect on our team, Jason Ecott, very experienced IT guy with a lot of experience, and he was the mastermind behind this technology and the way to go, and also the mastermind behind a lot of the technology stacks that we're moving to in CCLAS 6. So it's great to have. He's a great asset to have on our team. So as Ian kind of presented, we've launched this laboratory advisory service. If you wanted to see, myself and Ian did a webinar at the start of the year. If you do want to view that, just reach out to me. I can send you a link and you can view it. And I think Ian talks about some specific cases around investigations with, laboratory procedures around bias. I think it was Ian that you did. So I guess the reason again for me bringing this into I guess the CCLAS group. So in short, Datamine does have an advisory group for mining software. So the Snowden team and Optero team do mining advisory service. So advisory service is nothing new to Datamine, but certainly laboratory advisory service is. So again, we want to be more of, we don't want to just sell LIMS software. We want to have solutions for our laboratory customers, and having a laboratory advisory service as part of that, helping you with audits, on building new laboratories as Ian presented today, helping commissioning some instruments. We tend to see an interesting hearing today, like we tend to see a lot less classically trained chemists out there, so it is hard to have enough people to be able to commission those instruments. So we're here to help you with that if you don't have the staff. And again, investigation laboratory procedures. Obviously, some of these things need to be done on site, but some investigations can be done remote as well. And I think through the whole COVID, we had to convert basically all of our consulting activities to be online, and it's hard, it's difficult but doable. So I mean, Dave did a whole project remotely in Indonesia at Aman Minerals there. So it took us some time, but again, it relied on we had a really great laboratory super user for Rule there based on site, and we had help with their IT team and in consultation with ourselves, and that's how you have a successful project. So I think the good things to come out of such a bad event was it gave us new ways or new avenues to do work. But ultimately we want to be on site, looking at your laboratory, seeing where your problems are, because that's once we can visualize it, we can probably understand how we can solve that. I also did, I think probably last year now, a seminar on robotics, and we're starting to see a lot of our tier one miners move towards that. So we've got iron ore customers, platinum customers, nickel, zinc, and even commercial laboratories now moving towards robotic systems. So I guess it can come in a variety of things through sample preparation or analytical analysis. So obviously benefits for robotics, obviously improved productivity. Robots run 24 7, 365 days a year, so they don't take holidays, but then obviously, so there's turnaround times if you've got a lot of samples to get through, improved quality, samples are prepared and analysed in the same way, so it creates better reproducibility, improved health and safety, so staff aren't exposed to dust, to noise, to heat, and reduces manual handling injuries, as we saw with one of our customers that wanted to, I think it's 40 kilo samples, Dave, they wanted to be able to process, was it 40 kilo samples? 400 kilo samples. So that's the type of things that would be basically impossible with using a person. So again, we are, I think Datamine, I am looking to partner with robotics companies. We're never going to be a hardware business. It's not. We're a software company, right? But we are looking to make form strategic partners with robotics companies that are around. So we just see it as the future for our laboratories and our customers. The next thing that we're looking at is using AI. It tends to be a bit of a buzzword. We've seen some of our competitors use it, but true AI is that actually has practical advantage, and that's we're always going to produce applications that are practical, not that are non-practical. So one of the things that made me think about AI and scheduling through visit with our customers, commercial laboratory, we saw lots of samples as exploration, as some of you, that's gone through the roof, and there was just pallets and pallets of samples ready to be registered and analysed. And obviously, as you guys know, there's only certain capacity that you can have, to size a number of people, number of instruments. So we got talking to a number of different companies, Razor Labs and Data Science Group, both actually Israeli companies. It seems to be the hub for AI globally. And we've also spoken to a local company, Max Kelson, who used AI tools for Domino's Pizzas. So one of the things that Razor Labs showed us was an application that they use to help make decisions in a hospital. So it's a private hospital in Israel, and as you can imagine, a hospital's got lots of different rooms, different doctors, different procedures, and cleaning in between those. So they use that tool to be able to schedulise better scheduling of operations, so they could do more operations each day. Being a private hospital, the more operations that they can do, the more revenue that they could generate, right? So very easy to see the application from a laboratory point of view, where you have a number of different sections in the lab or rooms, different instruments, different people, and different samples for trying different analysis. So what we're looking to develop in partnership with probably Data Science Group looks to be the lead, but we'll see. We're looking to develop an application now. It won't be just an application for CCLAS. I want that, and I'm honest about it. Not everyone's going to use CCLAS in the world. That's fair enough. But what we do want to develop here is a scheduling tool that will interface to any LIMS system. So we'll kind of have a standardized table where the LIMS will need to push data to. So whether it be CCLAS or any other LIMS, they'll push data to standardized tables. The AI scheduling tool will look at those tables and make recommendations based on the AI. And it still will have to have an intelligent person or a supervisor looking at those decisions. All it's going to do is make recommendations. It will still need to be verified by a physical person. But so that's what we are looking for the future. Again, it was just things that I saw by visiting a laboratory and speaking to other different industry groups. Podcasts. So Datamine has started podcasts. Our Snowden team has started to gather industry experts and innovators and do podcasts on specific topics. So Graham presentation that you saw before. He's going to be doing a podcast with me at some point, and I think if you're interested, Brian, we'd love to do one with you as a great presentation, so we can talk about that at some point, and perhaps Nathan. So, and that's why I didn't want our laboratory symposium just to be a CCLAS fest. It's important for industry leaders, Brian, Nathan, to come in here, and Graham to come in here and talk about laboratory technology. I know that's what you guys are interested in, and I certainly tried to get a lot more of the bigger players in here. Unfortunately, I couldn't get them, but certainly have a chat to the people that in that you deal with in your laboratories, and we would love to get them to present their technology to everybody and to our customers, because it's just all about knowledge sharing. I want this to be more of a knowledge sharing community, laboratory community, and I think you and I were just talking before the break. I don't know if anyone attends any laboratory events at all, if there's any around. I'm certainly not aware of many. So we're going to be doing the symposiums yearly. They will be in different locations. So I think, judging by our, because a lot of people can register online that weren't able to attend, we had a lot of interest from South Africa, so probably we'll come over to South Africa next year, but we'll definitely move it around globally and be able to listen to all our different customers. So you're welcome to join me if you'll get that funded over to Africa. I've never been to Africa myself, so I'm looking forward to doing a safari maybe after the event. So that's what we've got in store. So I'll open it to questions about the product or about Datamine in particular. So yeah, any questions? Brian. No, just start, to be honest, Brian, just starting. So it's something that I probably only started formulating probably at the end of last year, just because, like I said, I had that lab visit and then it popped into my head, and then it's been a number of different meetings with these companies to figure out, well, because they, we're not an AI company, right? So stick to our lane. We bring in specialists to help us develop, and we partner with those companies. I think, although we are starting to, in other software, John, I think we're starting to have a look at AI as well, if I'm correct. Yes. Yeah. So again, it's kind of like, knowledge sharing, Brian, where, if I'm the first one off the rank, that will be probably leveraged in the rest of the company and the rest of our products. But yeah, it's we haven't even started. It's just purely investigation, but it's just, kind of the things that I wanted to let you guys know, that it's just not just focused on LIMS. There is other things and other applications for laboratories that we're looking at. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, that's right. And it's about practical application. So I think, like you say, Brian, I've seen AI, trying to remember the IBM one, what's it called, Walter AI or something. IBM, they completely scrapped that tool, and we had a presentation of that, and there wasn't a practical application for it, right? So you're absolutely right. It's all about practical application. Anyone else? Questions?
Well, maybe one.
Yeah.
Now you're mentioning taking some of that CCLAS
yeah.
centralised location. Is there any utility in having, I suppose, a shared QC process? So we do have a reference material that's widely commercially available. So you benchmark yourself against other labs going, how
Yeah. Yeah. So it's interesting, David. Does it make you think of the QRDC guys? Yeah. So it's a good point. We're just speaking to some guys at Rio Tinto that they specifically have it's internal, I think, isn't it, Dave? Yeah, okay. So it's a group that Rio Tinto, they have both internal and external customers that check quality, the analysis on samples, mainly alumina, I think, Dave, isn't it? All alumina-based samples, and then they actually are checking the performance of all of the labs and benchmarking that. So I think that it kind of sounds a bit similar, but more CRM-based, right? So you'd say a similar CRM that lots of different laboratories are using. Can we create, or is there like a benchmarking? Yeah. That's what you're talking about, Bruce? Yeah. 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 That's it. It is a good idea. I think that's kind of more community based, and I guess then you'd have to have someone then or an organisation, whether it be us, then analyse that analysis and benchmarking. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, I like the idea though, Bruce. It is a good idea. Let's explore that a little bit more offline. I do really like the idea of having that type of service. Yeah, I mean, and again, if show of hands, would that be something that lab guys that you'd be interested in? Okay, there's your answer. We just got to see if it's profitable, I guess, and can we do it? So let's talk about it. Sounds good.
You got together and you built in your application to Datamine. All the individual labs got together and you popped in and popped out. To all that just additional add-on value added to Datamine and the reference company.
Yeah.
You walk in, you see there's a lab and you're performing against other labs. Maybe you don't know.
Be anonymous.
Be anonymous. Yeah, be anonymous. Yeah.
Every 6 months and a few other things, and you get a snapshot of the lab on that day. Because everyone treats it special on that day. Only certain people do.
Yeah.
It's not representative.
Yeah. But if you had a lot of data, right, then it'd be represented. It's a good point. It's a good point. Yeah. So yeah, great idea, Bruce. So let's talk about it more. I like it. There we go, Jono. You got a new product. All right. Anybody else? Yeah. Yeah. That's all for the moment, but I think, Stephen, that's like, again, when I was thinking about it, knowing that, well, there's no point in just making it work for CCLAS. It kind of, because it would have, it's more, I think the application, honestly, is going to be more for commercial labs. It could be used in a production laboratory. I think it would be limited, right? So it's better for us as a company to make a product that would be more viable for other people as well. So, but that's the only one I've thought about. But you know, if there's ideas out there and you've got ideas for other products, again, let us know. And it's just, again, like I said, it's just because I went to a lab, we looked at a problem and thought, okay, well, let's see if we can find a solution. So I think, you know, we generally by nature, I think us, consulting background, myself and Dave, were just inquisitive to see the problems that you guys have, and we're always looking at ways to optimize it, even inside our own product. And I guess some of the things that we do when we look at, say, a customer that's running spreadsheets and they've done this analysis this way for this amount of years, and then they come to do a LIMS, you know, come into a LIMS system, they'll have, I guess, standard ways to do things, and I guess part of having the LIMS will help them, will help them optimize what they do, kind of like what you did, Sean, where you had a look at, you had all these different processes and change it to streamline things. And you know, for those of you that aren't our customers, part of our consulting process is we'll probably challenge you a little bit and ask you, well, are you sure you want to do these ways? This is how a lot of our other customers, because we know what our other customers do, and it's a way to kind of standardise. And again, it's just us giving you guys advice. Ultimately, it's your own choice. It's your lab. You can run it how you like. But we'll always give you that advice based on our industry experience, what we've seen and what's worked for our customers. So that's kind of, you know, we look at just outside of the software. It's just what happens in the lab is really important as well. Any other questions? All right, there's nothing more. Jono, did you want to close up? Actually, as you come up, John, I'll just, it's important obviously to thank all you guys for turning up today, to taking time out of your day. I know labs are very busy, so it's, you know, and time for everyone is really important. So, you know, we've had a lot of people travel from around Australia. So again, thank you very much. Also, those people that are listening online, they've had to take time out of their day to listen to the presentation. So thank you guys for listening online. If there's any other questions that you guys have, you know, please contact me, you know, directly. You know, link with me on LinkedIn. Give me a call, drop me an email. I'm happy to have a chat to you at any time. And like I said, we'll run the, you know, these symposiums every year. And Africa looks like to be the place next year. So I just like to everyone to just give a big round of applause to all the presenters for presenting here today. Thanks to Jono for hosting, for Kate and Martina for organising and doing all the marketing. So big round of applause to those guys as well. So events like this don't just happen, they take a lot of organising, so it was really great and have the ability to put this together. So I think we're going to have we'll have a networking event now with drinks upstairs. Do you want to give them the secret passcode?
Yeah, you basically said everything I was just about to say. So yeah, I guess echoing Dion's thoughts, it's been I think it's a really successful day. Really great to see a room full of you know, people from labs. I mean, as Dion said, there aren't many or any events like this for the lab community, so it's great to be able to host one. And it's been really positive hearing the discussions about some of the presentations. It's really sort of evoked some conversations, which has been really, really good. Yes, this will be an annual event. I think next year we'll do one in Perth, probably as well as South Africa. That's up to them to do.
He wants two.
But I don't have an issue hosting another one.
We'll do two. That's fine.
Annually in Australia,
okay.
if it's going to be as well attended as this, so that's no issues. One thing to mention, you know, South Africa, they've got safari. I mean, look at the view, hey? I mean,
yeah, it is a pretty good
Perth
view.
isn't bad, so you know it's not too bad.
That's why we shut the blinds behind, so you guys would actually look at the presentation, not the view.
And I must say, we've had a couple of conferences in this room in the past, and you know, this is the first time we've actually had the curtains open. It's I can't believe we didn't do it in the past. It's blocking out the view. But yeah, indeed, we are going to have a networking drinks session upstairs on the very top floor. I think it's the 17th floor. There's there's a sort of rooftop bar. So there's a card behind the bar. You just need to say the special key code word,
password,
which
and it is
a name drop, CCLAS.
There you go.
So yeah, again, thank you so much for coming, and but in particular thanks to Martina and Kate for helping host this event. It's been really good. So yeah, thank you so much, and see you upstairs.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.